Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. This is my game, round 2, from the 136th New York State Championship played over the holiday weekend, the end of August, early September this year, 2014. It's the longest running continuous state championship in the country, 136 years, pretty good. Anyway, I'm black. My opponent is white. His name is pronounced, I believe, Giridhar. He is white, and this is the under 1500 section. We're both rated in our 1400s. He goes e4. I decided to play, it's going to be a Sicilian. Let's go through some of the moves here. Knight takes, b takes. I'm a little cramped, but it's not the end of the world. You expect that at the beginning of a Sicilian. Bishop d3. And the computer wants me to go bishop to c5 or bishop b4, one of the two, probably the better option. I decided to go d5. Gave a little bit white of an advantage, but I wanted to clear out the center. E takes, c takes. I like those center pawns there. I'm an old school guy. I like the center pawns. Bishop takes, queen takes, and my opponent castled. Right now I've got a small advantage, about a pawn, which isn't bad considering it's only move 11. So I'm feeling pretty good. I won the first round. Interesting endgame. My opponent had a winning move and he missed it, so I'm doing okay, you know. D4 to chase off the knight. That was also the computer's move, so I'm pretty proud of that as well. Back up the knight a little bit. Bishop c5, another computer move, so I'm pretty glad about that. And it is tough because this guy's a younger guy, and I always seem to have trouble against the younger guys because you don't know what to really expect, especially when they're really young. He looked probably 16. I'm 57, so that's like an infant compared to me. Bishop to g5, hitting the knight. I move queen to d6. Now, computer likes knight to e4, which is actually I like a lot too. But I decided to go queen to d6, which brought a lot of my advantage down. After knight to e4, computer wanted bishop to h4, rook to c8, and then rook to e1. And I still pretty had the same advantage. After queen to d6, he went queen to d3. I finally castled, and he went knight g3 to bring the knight over on the king side, because that's where my king is, and that's where the action is going to be. He's got his bishop, his knight, and his queen all coming down on the queen side. And that's all his pieces except for his rooks, which will be coming out shortly. I went rook f to e8. Computer wanted rook a to b8. I guess to hit the pawn. The knight to d5. Actually, I should have saw that myself. It's knight to d5. And then coming, that holds a lot of key squares for that knight. Here, 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 and here is controlled by that knight. So that would have been a good spot. Anyway, rook f to e8. Bishop finally took. Queen takes. Now, if you wonder what happened if g had taken, knight to f5, queen to f8, rook a to e1, and I got a world of crap coming down to me. After queen takes, knight to e4, and that's a good spot for that knight. Now I've got to save the bishop. So I went queen to c6. Now I was really surprised. Instead of going f4 and opening up the position, he decided to trade. And I breathed a little bit of sigh of relief because I had somewhat of trouble there. Now I think I'm okay. Computer says I'm about 3/4 of a pawn up. I got two really good center pawns. My king's okay. I'm feeling pretty good at this point. He went rook a to c1. Of course, he's worried about me bringing the rook over and going after this pawn. Rook to e6. I wanted rook a to b8. e4. Probably would have been a better move, forcing the queen back. But rook to e6. And then he went c3. What to do? What to do? Queen to b6 is a suggestion by the computer. I decided to go rook to g6. He played c takes. I played queen to d5. f3. Queen takes d4 check. Queen takes e takes. Now it's a double rook ending. Now I'm feeling okay at this point. I've got that passed d pawn. He's going to have to bring his king up to stop it. And we're going to see how this goes. Rook to c4. Or excuse me, queen takes, e takes. Rook to c4. I played my rook over. He played rook d1. And of course I brought the other rook over. It actually shows a small advantage for white. I think the game's even right now. We're roughly rated the same. I just come off a win. I was feeling pretty good. He moved the rook, so I can't push the pawn anymore. I went f6 just to make an escape for my king. And also, too, I'm going to have to try to bring my king up to maybe help out with this pawn. Eventually, I can go rook to here to guard this pawn. b4, he's going to try. He's got two pawns on the one side against my one. You got to go for it. h6, a4, king f7, b5, king e6, which was the computer move. Of course, there's three moves that are close to the same in score, but king to f2, king to f1, g3 is computer choices for white. He goes a5. And that brings up my score a little bit. Probably should have went rook to b8, which is going to force him to move a rook to protect it. But I decided to go king to e5 instead. I wanted that king right up in the action. He went king to f2, rook to d5 or rook to b8. Both good choices. I put rook to b8. And it still shows it as even, but it's tricky. Rook to b4. Rook to d5. Hitting the pawn again. b6. I played rook takes. He played rook takes. I played rook takes. He went rook to f4 check. It's a small advantage for me, but this still looks drawable. But at least I have a passed pawn to work with. I went king to f5. He checked me again. I went king to g6. And he checked me again. And then I finally got king out. Now, unfortunately, the king can't help the a pawn. Now, this is where my opponent miscues. It's pretty simple for me. I'm just going to try to get my pawn down. He played rook b to c4. And it jumps. There's a choice between the rook on a and the rook on b. I chose the rook on b check. He went king to g3. Now this is where I blow it. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to move the rook over. He's going to have to trade. I'll take with the h-pawn. I'll bring my rook over and slowly bring this guy down. But unfortunately, my pawn isn't behind. The rook isn't behind the pawn. I went rook to g5, and my advantage completely slips away. I had over 2-point advantage at this point. Rook to g5. He went rook to a4. What to do? What to do? Rook takes, f takes. Now it's basically drawn. I don't think I can win this now. And I'm a little irritated that my rook's in a bad spot. So I check him. King to f2. King to g6. He didn't take the pawn. He moved pawn up. Rook to b7. Rook to a6. And I'm just going to go the last few moves now. Excuse me, worth going over. King to g6, rook a3, pawn, takes, rook a6, king, rook. And we called it a draw. Your rook has to be behind your passed pawn. That's the deal. That's the rule. Anyway, folks, not much of a game, but nonetheless a draw. So I have 1 win and 1 draw so far in the 136th New York State Championship. I hope that rook ending was somewhat instructional on what to do. If you want to go back over it and use the computer, feel free. Rook and pawn endings are murderous. Anyway, folks, 3 more videos to go in my quest for the under 1500 New York State Championship. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.